Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Les Brown's Motivational Monday Night Call, your place for motivation and inspiration with world-renowned speaker and coach and author, Mr. Les Brown. Mr. Brown wants to thank you for your continued support of everything that he shares with inspiring our global world. He is committed as he travels, as he meets you on the road, to keep inspiring you to remember the greatness that lives inside. So he's traveling. He actually just got off the road. He was intending to be here to give you a little surprise tonight, but due to schedules, he will be unable to be here, but he's left me in charge once again to make sure you get value out of tonight's call. This is just one of many ways that Mr. Brown brings value to our world. He has had this free call for decades, and he's excited to know that it's been a great impact in your lives, and you continue to connect with him at lesbrown.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/brown.les, as well as on YouTube with his YouTube channel and the scores of individuals who have been inspired by the words that he shared. And he loves when he meets you on the road, and some of you can repeat the stories almost verbatim when it comes to what he has done in inspiring you to live your greatest life. So my name is Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, and I am humbled and privileged to be your host for tonight. And for tonight's call, we're going to have a conversation a little bit different than you're used to. See, some of you know that Les Brown has trained hundreds of speakers on the planet, and some have gone off to do their own platforms and to create other opportunities and to pay forward what it is that they've learned from the master himself, because we know there is nobody on the planet that can tell a story and inspire action like Mr. Brown. He has all the awards to prove it and has been on every continent on this globe sharing his voice. But one of the things that we appreciate about Mr. Brown is that he lends his time, his skill, and his talent into investing in the next series of voices that'll be heard for years to come, in the next powerhouses that'll be able to transform lives and cause a shift in what we do as a global society. And I would be remiss if I didn't pause at this time to remember those who are suffering in Paris as a result of those horrific terrorist acts, the threats that have been in other places in the world. This is another reason why we have to share light and love, that if people could reach those who choose to take life as if they gave it, if we could reach them before they make such a decision, if we could reach them before they commit such horrific crimes, we could actually save this planet one person at a time. So on behalf of Mr. Brown and all of us that are part of his team and Platinum family, we want to extend our condolences and extend our prayers to those across the globe in France that are still trying to sort through what has happened, and those who are injured and fighting for their lives. And that's one of the reasons why I love working with Mr. Brown and being a part of this platform and team, because it's all about how you can change lives through the work that you do, through your story, through your product, through your services, through just living as an example of light in a very troubled world. And tonight, I'm going to be interviewing one of the most senior members of the team, someone who has built a platform not just because of the prestige he's reached across the globe and the passion he has behind telling stories, but his commitment to the personal growth and development for everyone that he's around, everyone that he touches, and his influence on all of us that have become a part of the Les Brown family and community. He's an author, he's a speaker, he's a minister, he's a husband, he's a father, he's a community servant. He is someone who has mastered the art of storytelling, learning from the great Les Brown. He's a personal friend, a brother, someone that I can call and get counsel from and lean on. And tonight you're going to be treated to some words of wisdom from one of the greatest storytellers that has been born. And let me just make sure his mic is live. Mr. Dwight, pleasure. Are you with us?
Stacey, you are just you're just too kind. I'm sitting here saying I got to catch up with that energy, and I'm around here standing on a ladder because you way up there, my sister.
Well, I am going to try to contain myself from having too much fun tonight. But you know what, Dwight? We have listeners on this call who tune in every single week to either hear from Les Brown, from the Platinum Speakers, because they are excited about getting tuned up, about recharging their goals and their dreams, about staying focused on the greatness that Les talks about that resides in every single one of us. And we have new callers that have come on excited to hear more because they've gone to Les Brown's website, they've seen him on YouTube, they've followed him on live streams, and they just want more. And Dwight, the first thing I want to open up with tonight is that you've been with Les for nearly 2 decades. You've been working side by side. You've seen speakers come in, grow and blossom, and some just keep a steady pace on their path to telling their story. What has been the greatest joy for you watching the master at work and how he's impacted the lives of those who work with him?
You know, Stacy, I did connect with Les over a decade ago, and it was in the context of me being able to share my story in a lot of venues, churches and prisons and institutions, and I felt that there was a broader audience out there, so I wanted to be trained to speak and to take my speaking skills to the next level. And so when I thought about speakers on the planet, and I had a chance to see him on a T.D. Jakes cruise, and he had Ona and a guy named Art Dokes. I don't know if you know him, but they were sharing, and he was talking about mentoring and training speakers. So shortly thereafter, I connected with him and began to be mentored by him, made an initial investment for that training, but it was literally life-changing. You know, Denzel Washington said that in life there is the moment, and then there is after the moment in which nothing is ever the same again. And I think, Stacy, that dynamic took place when I began to be mentored by Les Brown. And one of the things that I think if there's a takeaway that I could share, it would have to be of Mr. Les Brown's love for stories and how he works stories and he works his own story. And so as we're being mentored by him, and as you can attest to this, Stacy, is that he doesn't believe we should just tell our story here and there and kind of, you know, get it down pat, and then now we did that, we passed that class, we can move on. Les Brown is a believer that your story, the more you work it, the more you tell it, the more you share it, that it will begin to open up layers and layers and layers of new truth, new revelation, new depth, new insight, new value to the audience as you bring it forth. So he really caused me to have a strong commitment to the power of story. And since that time, and since me capturing the essence of what he was trying to convey to me and the rest of the Platinum speakers, because as you know, Stacey, he is a phenomenal trainer. I mean, he's a marathon trainer. He'll train us till way over in the evening of the night, and when it looked like we getting tired, he just kick into another afterburner, and we up for another 2 hours. But here's what we all know. While we're sitting there at the feet of the Master, nobody's really tired, nobody's ready to go home, because you never know what he's going to say that might be the answer, that might be the light that comes on in your spirit and allows you to catapult and take your storytelling skills to the next level.
Absolutely. And those late night sessions is like you can't sleep because you're too excited. You're excited about finally getting a space where you can release what's inside of you. And that leads me to my next question, Dwight. You summarized that so well. I'm thinking about our listeners. Not everybody wants to stand on stage and give a keynote speech. Not everybody wants to train in a corporate office. But do you feel that everybody has a story that they can share in a significant way?
Absolutely. And one of the things that Dan Smith and myself, he is my partner in D&D Training and Coaching Solutions. One of the things that we've learned over the time of not only being mentored by Les, but conducting the many workshops and coaching sessions that he and I have had, is that everybody has a story. And one of the things I share with people, as you may not be planning to go on the platform or hit the speaking circuit, but I think there's a value in everyone knowing and thinking through, and even from time to time sharing their story. And one of the things I always say, there's a quote that says that, things may happen to you and things may happen around you, but the only thing that ultimately matters is what happens in you. And I think I shared some of this on the call before, but it bears repeating, is that all of us on this call tonight, clearly, without debate, and I don't have to argue over it, you've had some things to happen to you in life. I heard a bunch of amens out there. And the other piece to it is that not only have you had things to happen to you, but you have had things to happen around you that had an impact on who you are today. And so what I maintain is that when we can have a clear understanding and even at some point be able to articulate what has happened to us in life, all the way from our earliest memories on up to the very present, no matter how old you are. And when we look at the things that have happened around us, and we have to know that as a result of those two dynamics, that something took place down on the inside of you that is the sum total of who you are today. And what I'm really trying to say is that's your story. And your story has value not only for others, but your story has value to you. So as I talk to the listeners tonight, I want to encourage you to begin to be a little more introspective. Begin to be more aware of some of the things and the dynamics of things that have happened to you in your life, and begin to look back and see, what is the connection? How can I connect the dots between something that might have happened and even a traumatic thing that may have happened to me when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old? And as I stand here today, realizing and knowing so fresh, so strong, and so impactful that there's got to be a reason why I can't let that memory go. And many times when we take that road back, when we begin to examine things that we have experienced, things that have happened to us in life, we can then begin to understand to a better degree why we are who we are, why we're the way we are, and then here's the key. Then we can make some decisions in terms of how we need to change and the ways in which we need to change. And change, when we talk about it, is really another word many times for transformation. And that's what Les Brown, he is a transformational teacher. He has passed that on to Dan and myself and the other platinum speakers. We don't just want to tell a story to stimulate your cranium and to allow your brain just to, have all kind of reactions. We want to be able to share a story that goes past your head, gets down into your heart, motivates and moves your emotions, and takes you to literally another place. In other words, as Les many times says, to be expanded by an idea, a thought, or experience, and understanding and knowing that after that takes place, you can never be satisfied going back to that old original place. It's like trying to put a new wine in old wineskins. It just won't work.
Oh, wait, I tell you, I know that's right. I'm getting the fire extinguisher over here. I stirred you up, Dwight Pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, I warned you. I warned you that this was going to be a treat. And as you're speaking and you're sharing that, Dwight, and I'm getting excited and just taking notes on the confirmation of what it means to get to that expansion phase. What is the power in sharing your story? Once you identify it and work it, when you share it, I see so many people be able to now see the example of what's possible once they hear somebody else have the courage to share their story. What has been your experience in seeing that sort of manifestation after you get the courage to share your story?
Absolutely. One of the things that Les just kind of just reiterates and and teaches over and over again, the value of our story, and not only the value of our story even to our audience, but the value of our story to ourselves. I maintain and believe, and Dan Smith and myself, we teach and train that your story literally has healing power. Now, healing power, yes, to your audience, but healing power to the storyteller. Because as I have shared my story of coming out of an addiction cycle of 7 years and then being reunited with my family and going through all of the dynamics of restoration in that relationship, I literally want you to know that as I've shared my story across this nation, internationally, and even down in Tijuana, Mexico, in a drug rehab center where I had to get an interpreter to talk to these people that they was trying to get off drugs, and they was locked into a compound. Even to that level, it's been a situation to where the more I tell my story, the more healing I experience down on the inside. Because when things are held in darkness, many times they have a way of, again, when it's in darkness and it's locked behind doors and it's hidden and tucked away, it has a sense of just basically bringing about some kind of, it's just kind of like a mold. A mold, expresses itself and grows in darkness. But once the light comes to it, then that mold has to dissipate, and the thing that it was covering for so long is now put in plain view, and we're able to see and to hear parts of a person that they thought they would never, ever say. Many times I've shared things with audiences, and I thought to myself when I was going through that experience that I would never, ever share that with anybody. And then I find myself in a room of 2,000 people sharing something I thought I would never, ever share. But here's the blessing and the breakthrough, is that when we bring some things, not everything now, some of that stuff you need to leave on in the closet, okay? But when we bring some things to the forefront and into the light, there is a liberating experience that takes place, because many times we do it not feeling it, we do it by faith. One of the things, Stacy, in terms of something that I used to share, I shared my story of coming out of addiction for 15 years before I was able to share one aspect of my addiction that was shameful, and I didn't really want to say it, and I couldn't even bring myself to say it on the stage. But at one point, I got to the point where I said, I've got to say this. And when I shared the fact that during my time of addiction that I was literally homeless, nowhere really to live, no key in my pocket, no door that I could open and call my own and go in the refrigerator. It was such a shameful thing that I had in my mind about it that I could not articulate it. But once I took the courage to say that's true, it did happen, it's a part of my history, it's a part of my story, and I'm going to be free today, and I stood up on that stage, and I didn't feel it, but by faith I said it. I said at one time I was homeless, had nowhere to call my own. And the minute I got that out of my spirit and voiced it into the universe, there was an immediate liberating impact that brought about tears and emotion to me that I didn't even know were in there. I didn't plan on bringing forth, but that's the power. It takes a lot of strength, a lot of energy to hold truth in suspension when that truth is something that can liberate people in your audience. After telling that story, people would come to me that had never come to me before and share that I'd been in the same place that you've been. And it really helped me to hear you say that you had been in that state of condition. And so now I know that if you can come out of it and get to where you are, then I have hope. And we are, Stacy, at the end of the day, we are messengers of hope. And we're using the power of story as a vehicle to change and liberate and impact men and women, boys and girls.
Drop the mic, ladies and gentlemen. He just dropped the mic. Absolutely, my brother. That is what we're doing as messengers of hope. And what I wanted to share tonight, Dwight, I wanted the audience to know a little bit more about your passion for this work, because I know that we're in this fourth quarter of the year. There's a lot of evaluation going on for those who are seriously serious about finishing strong, for those who no longer want to feel as if that they are bottled up and tied up and they're waiting for perfect circumstances to move on their goals and their dreams, or they're waiting for a certain amount of financial reward, or they're waiting for permission from other people, but they are sick and tired of holding on to their story. They're dying to share their story, literally, and they need to get it out because it's suffocating them, staying inside. And I wanted you to share this information so that somebody can be freed. I don't know who needed to hear your words tonight, who needed confirmation on what they already know, but this is not time to play. This is time to act. This is time to sow the right seed so that the harvest that we're seeking we can reap come 2016. It doesn't start on January 1st. It starts now, continuing the labor of love and work that you've been doing in your life. And part of it is having the strength in your story, in your voice, whether you share it on a big platform or you share it in a community meeting or you share it with your family. However you are used to be a blessing, and like you said, Dwight, to be a messenger of hope, living in a world that so much is going on around us, it really causes time to pause for a moment and listen to the genuine inside of you that is knocking and saying, let me out. I am ready for the world to hear me. Let me out. You've kept me in here too long. And if you don't let me out, I'm going to explode on you.
Go ahead, honey. Let me interview you some, because you got some stuff up in there too, okay?
Absolutely. I'm on every week, every day. My mission gets deeper and wider and clearer, and I can't fool around with craziness and nonsense. I'm allergic to it. It's time for us to move forward with a group of individuals that want more. I get what Mr. Brown tells us, Dwight. You know, all the time he says it's easier to work with the willing than one tied around your neck. I've cut off everybody trying to choke a sister up in here, up in here. It's about running with the people who want more from life, who want to define for themselves what it is that's going to be a part of their legacy. So, Dwight, I'm just so excited that you had time in your schedule tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a rare opportunity to be able to get this man on the phone for this long because of his demanding schedule. And I'm just so excited because he's witnessed and seen and been a right hand to Mr. Brown, and knowing and understanding the power and how stories have transformed millions of lives. So before I give some information and see if we can open up the call before our next call, Dwight, how can they stay in touch with you and to delve deeper into the power of story?
Okay. Well, Stacey, you brought up something that I want to share real quick. It'll take about a minute. And it was the fact that you talked about people out there, their story, and you used the word suffocating. You said they're suffocating that story. What a powerful way to characterize and to illustrate this valuable, precious thing that many of us have on the inside. And rather than giving it life and breath and air, we are choking it and suffocating and pushing and stuffing it down deeper and deeper. And I say to many of you out there, the wisdom of Miles Monroe, who is a great friend of our mentor Les Brown, he said something so powerful, it bears repeating. He said the wealthiest place on the planet is not in the vast oil fields of the Middle East. It's not even in the gold and diamond mines of South Africa. He said, the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery, the graveyard. He said, for there you'll find dreams never realized, books never written, songs never composed, gifts, talents, and abilities that never reached their full potential. Men, women, boys, and girls who lived and died with their greatness, with their potential, with their story, with their life life-changing experience still in them. And so the question has to be asked tonight, that if you died, yes, you all that are on this call, if you died today, what would die with you? And you and only you can answer that question, because you really know, as Stacy said, what is pushing and trying to break its way out of you and get released into the universe where it can do what it was purposed and intended to do. And that is bring about help, hope, healing, and transformation to this world that is dying in droves. And you don't have to. You have the breath still and the blood still running warm in your veins. Therefore, we're without excuse if we don't take action, and not tomorrow, but take action tonight after you get off this phone. Start writing your story until you can speak your story, until you can stand before others and tell your story, until your story becomes like the pebble in the pond. It begins with one pebble falling into a smooth, serene pond, and then once it hits that pond, once your story hits the universe, it begins to cause ripples and ripples to go until your story is crashing in a crescendo of waves and revelation and change in people's lives. And I challenge you tonight. I challenge you to open up your mouth. When you open up your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And we need to know what you have on the inside. Amen.
Crescendos. Woo! I'm going to use that one, my brother. The ripple and crescendos of waves of stories like this. I don't know about you, Dwight, but I really get giddy and excited when we do our work. Like, this excites me. Some people get excited over math, science. I get excited over bringing voices of hope and greatness and inspiring us to give the divine in us a chance to be released in the universe. This has been an awesome, awesome call. How can they stay in contact with you, Dwight? And then I'm going to tell our audience how they can connect with Mr. Brown directly. There are limited opportunities before 2015 is over to see Mr. Brown in person and to make the investment of being able to be blessed by the mentorship and the training that Dwight and I have received and the countless other platinum. So how can they connect with you, Dwight, before I give them that information?
Okay. All right, Stacy. Thank you so much for this opportunity again. Also, ladies and gentlemen, you can contact me at, I would like for you to text a short code. Text the word speaker, that's SPEAKER, to 55469. That's speaker to 55469. And the other place that I want you to go tonight is to a web address. And the web address I need you to go to where you can get email and phone contact contact information on myself and Dan Smith, and that is totalspeakerworkshop.com. That's total, T-O-T-A-L, speaker, S-P-E-A-K-E-R, workshop.com, and you can get any information you want. Also, you can take a look at some of the things that Dan and myself are involved in and look at some of the opportunities you have to be coached and mentored by us as we continue to do the work that we're assigned to do on this planet.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Dwight, for making yourself available for the work that you and Dan do with D&D and the commitment that you have made to our Les Brown Enterprise family and just the quality and work ethic that you have. It's truly inspiring, and I just am so grateful for how you show up in my life and your support, and just want to publicly esteem you for that as always. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to connect with Mr. Brown live, he will be in Los Angeles, California on November 20th. If you want to register for that event, you can go to lesbrown.com. That's lesbrown.com. You will also see information on a special training he'll be doing in Orlando, Florida, the third weekend in January. So this is your opportunity to connect with him at those two events with the First Family of Motivation, his beautiful children. And for those of you that are in Kansas, Les Brown will be live at a private dinner. It's not going to be for hundreds and hundreds. This is for those who are able to purchase their ticket and have intimate one-on-one opportunity to meet Mr. Brown in Topeka, Kansas, and that is going to be on Monday, November 30th. That's Monday, November 30th, 2015. All you need to do is go to dinnerwithles.com. That's dinnerwithles.com for more information. Even if you're not sure you can make it, and you're not sure where your schedule will take you, just log on to dinnerwithles.com. You'll at least be blessed by some of the information that's there about the event. I am privileged to be able to be featured at that event with Dr. Reuben West and Roland Manny. It's going to be a powerhouse for all the ladies. I just decided tonight that I'm going to tell Dr. West I want to do something special with ladies only. So I'm on a mission. Dwight, it is on. I've been eating hot peppers with a fork wherever I land. Watch out, everybody, because I'm not playing. I'm taking no prisoners. We are moving forward with finishing 2015 strong. So I thank you for your support. I thank you for what you're doing to show up. I will open up the call for about 3 minutes, maybe 4, because Dwight and I have another call right after this. But I am so excited in my spirit right now because I know there's somebody listening. Might not be everybody, because you have to be at the right place to be able to receive the information and process it in the form that will manifest in action. And that's okay, because I wasn't always in that place, and I needed to hear more than one time. I was that kind of learner. But once I get it and once I've gotten it, watch out, world. So if you're at the place where you've gotten it and you're ready, we're ready to be of service to you to get you to that next point, that breakthrough, what's looking to come out, that's knocking at that door, ready to burst through. Let's make it happen. And for all of you that join in and you share it out and you tell friends about Les Brown's Motivational Monday Night Call, Mr. Brown and myself and the entire team, thank you. And we want to remind you that there's greatness inside of you. So I'm going to put the call in Q&A mode. And if you want to share a comment with Dwight Pleasure about anything that he shared, you will be able to do that before we end the call. So please stand by.
All callers are unmuted. All callers are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can go ahead and press *6 to unmute your line if you have a question or a comment about our call tonight.
Hello. I enjoyed that, Stacy. This is Ray again.
Hey, how you doing, my friend? Thank you for being such a faithful listener and supporter on this call. So we'll comment, Ray, and then we have some new folks that are on as well. So go ahead and share your comment, beautiful Ray.
Well, I enjoyed it, no need to say, tremendously. But I wanted to ask Dwight this. I have a friend who has 2 nephews addicted to heroin. And, I mean, they practically at death's door, I'm sure. But does he coach or counsel people or young men on drugs?
Yeah,
Right.
this is Ray, right?
Yes.
Okay, you got it. Okay, yes. Your question is one that I get asked often in terms of people that are dealing with addictions and things like that. And the first thing I normally ask them about the loved one that they're, or the person that they know who really needs help, one of the first things I ask them is, do they want help? And that's a very important question, because you can't set somebody free from something that they still desire and want to do. But there comes a time in their life where they're going to realize and come to terms with the fact that change needs to happen. It needs to happen right now. So if and when they are available to talk to someone, you can have my contact information. Stacy knows how to get in touch with me, and I will be more than happy. One of the things I do in terms of a social contribution in ministry is we work with men and women that are coming out of different kind of addiction cycles. We go into prisons, we counsel, we talk to them, we refer to programs. So I'm more than happy as just a part of what I do in terms of purpose to work with them and to share with them, but they need to be willing.
Yeah. Well, one of them has been in jail, and they had to get him out to go to his
Wow. Well, Ray, you know what? We probably need to talk about this offline because we do have some new callers that want to come in, but Dwight is going to help. So if you send me an inbox message on Facebook, I will connect you with Dwight so that you can connect that family, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, my love. And thank you for your
I enjoy both of y'all tonight.
Thank you so much. I hear two other callers going to come through. So
Hello, Mr. Dwight. I just want to, hello, Mr. Dwight. I just want to thank you for all of the inspiration.
1 second. Somebody has a terrible background noise. You could just mute your line so we can hear the caller. Thank you so much. Go ahead, my dear.
Yes, I just want to thank you so much for the inspiration. I listened to the call, the Motivational Monday call every week, and it keeps me going. It helps me deal with stress, procrastination, and it's so inspiring. And just by listening, it's helped me so much as an artist. I completed my whole album, produced my whole album from calling in every Monday and being so totally inspired by all of you. And the only thing I asked, if you could go on iTunes and check out Marvetta so you can hear some samples of my work, because I'm trying to inspire people to let them know they can make it, even as tough as things may seem. So my name is Marvetta, Marvtta, and I'm on iTunes. So you guys have been so wonderful. God bless you. I love you. You've helped me tremendously.
Well, thank you, Mark, for being that testimony with us. Somebody still has background noise, so please be mindful that it's a little difficult to hear everybody with that noise. Thank you. Marvetta, thank you for sharing that and knowing that it's not just listening, but you're applying the information and the takeaways that you're hearing. So congratulations to you, and we wish you success with what you're doing, and I wrote down a note so I can check. So thank you.
All right. Okay, thanks, Marvetta.
Okay, somebody else is waiting to get through, and I think you have background noise. We'll let you go right ahead because we're going to have to close down the call shortly.
Hi, my name is Latoya Drummond, and this is my first time being on the call. It's very inspirational to hear someone who will help other people that live their passion. I'd like to know more about, joining the team because I always had a passion to speak. So, therefore, it's always been inside of me as well. Like you said, and I completely agree that we all have a story to tell. So, me listening to Les Brown numerous times when I was going through the storm, it helped me to keep pushing. And I felt when you have that purpose, you can help others as well. So, therefore, I'd like to know more how I could push more in that field.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, what is your name?
Latoya Drummond.
Latoya. Okay, Latoya. My youngest daughter's name is Latoya. That's the easy one. But just as Marvetta was saying, many times this call helps to distract and a lot of negative arguments that are in our head. So when we get on this call, we're able to listen to something positive and take that.
All callers are muted.
I'm sorry, Dwight. There was too much background noise, and I want Latoya to be able to hear your response.
Absolutely. Many times, Latoya, we get on this call, and I do the same thing. I mean, when Stacy contacted me today, I was planning on doing something else, but immediately when I knew I was going to be a part of this call, I mean, my energy level went up about 10 notches. That is the power of this Monday night motivational call, because when you tune in, you're going to get something that's going to take you to another place. And so congratulations on being a part of this call. And I would simply say that if you can connect with Stacy, I know Stacy has a Destiny Designers University, and she's doing some things even with young women. I'm sure that there can be some kind of collaboration and some kind of opportunity for you to begin to use that valuable, valuable gift that's down on the inside. And then once you hear about us having one of our workshops, Dan Smith and myself, do your best to get there or get to a Les Brown event where you can really interact and be a part of a community of collaborative people that want to do something and be something in life. So congratulations again for what you're doing, and I just love that name, LaToya. That's my daughter's name. All right.
Well, since that is one of your baby's names, we know you do. And thank you, LaToya, for having the courage just to share that. And that's where it begins. You started telling your story tonight by just letting us know that that's where you are, and it's the first step. You know, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. I believe that's the Chinese proverb that I'm summarizing. But the point is, you're making a step. You showed up, you're here, and let the inspiration lead you to more than just being inspired, but to actually take action. That's the motto of my Destiny Designers University, where we graduate to the next best version of ourselves by turning inspiration into results. So feel free to connect with me directly at info@destinydesignersuniversity.com. That's info@destinydesignersuniversity.com. And I would love to just offer you some more support. Continue to stay connected to Mr. Brown, lesbrown.com, Facebook, brown.les, and to Dwight Pleasure and Dan Smith at D&D Consulting, TotalSpeakerWorkshop.com. Is that it, Dan? Dwight?
Yeah, that's it, TotalSpeakerWorkshop.com, exactly.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And for those of you who are addicted to motivation, you can also find me on Periscope and on Blab, which are other platforms where we can have a direct connect and be able to continue the conversation. So, Mr. Brown, thanks you for your time, your commitment, your willingness to explore the levels of greatness inside of you, and for staying connected to this call every single Monday. Welcome again to our first-time callers. Thank you to all of our faithful listeners, and we look forward to being with you again next week as we join in for another dose of motivation on this platform. Once again, my name is Dr. Stacey N.C. Grant, and I'm joined by the phenomenal Dwight Pleasure, and we bid you adieu and have an awesome week. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right, Stacey. Good night, Stacey. We'll talk later.
Yes,
right.
sir. Bye-bye.
All right, good night, everyone. Thank you.